Depending on constant feedback is the worst way to actually build confidence within yourself as a singer. So let's talk about that. Here we go. Hi, welcome to this new episode. My name is Maggie and I'm a vocal coach, the founder of the Singing Insiders, in which I help passionate singers and performers really up-level their singing skills. And in these episodes, you're going to get practical exercises, tools, techniques, insights all around singing to help you up-level your singing skills as well. So let's look at this idea of being dependent on constant feedback as a singer. And this came from someone that I talked to in our Singing Insiders community. And she actually shared with me that she was scared to practice at home because she wasn't sure whether she was doing it right. Now, I totally get where that's coming from because for so long, we've been told that you can damage your voice if you're doing the wrong things, or that doing it wrong means that you can then build up bad habits within your voice and your voice use. So oftentimes that's where, as a coping mechanism, we tend to seek approval and validation and permission from someone else before someone can feel safe enough to move forward, right? Now, the truth is that having some kind of constant feedback like that can actually hinder or block your growth as a singer, because it teaches you to rely on someone else's ears instead of training your own, and that keeps you dependent. Now, as a vocal coach, I see it as one of my main missions to help you be independent. In other words, when I work with singers, I never want them to think, I need Maggie for this. I cannot do this by myself. No, I want to equip you with tools and techniques, and we're going to talk about any red flags that you might notice in your voice. We're going to talk about that today. I want to equip you with all of these things and skills so that you can, first of all, feel the confidence in yourself, and that you can ask for help to reach out whenever you need it to, instead of being scared of applying the things that you're learning and then not really making any progress, right? There's a difference between working with a coach and working with that coach once you know that something is wrong and you're having difficulties figuring it out. That is the healthy way of working with a coach. The unhealthy way is to not do the work at all by yourself and only do the work when you're with your vocal coach, because then you're dependent on that person's feedback. We don't want to have that. We want to have you in your power, because if you keep waiting for feedback every time that you sing, then you'll only feel safe when you're with your coach or anyone else, right? I'm just talking about a coach now, but maybe it's your singing buddy. So then when you're practicing by yourself, that solo practice becomes a source of doubt, insecurities, and then you're starting to second guess yourself, and that delays your progress, and then you remain stuck in the belief that you're not capable of learning this on your own, and that just kills your confidence. Worst case scenario, we don't want to go there. So what can you do instead? Let's look at that, because that's going to be interesting, so that you can be within your power, so that you can make fast progress, and so that you can use the help of a coach to support your progress instead of driving it, because you should be in the driver's seat, not your vocal coach. You are the one that is responsible for your results, because when you then do achieve something and you notice that as a win, it is your win, not your coach's win. Okay? So what do we do? Well, first of all, you need to learn how to tune into your body, tune into your voice, and really listen out for any red flags that your body and your voice might be giving you. Paying attention to what's happening when you're singing. So a few red flags that you can be mindful of And I know we talk about these extensively in the Singing Insiders, but I'm going to give you the 3 main ones so that you can be on the lookout for those. First of all, tension. If you feel any tension when speaking or singing, that tells you something. Singing is supposed to be effortless. And let me say that again. This is important. Singing is supposed to be effortless. Now, with that, I don't mean effort and tension that you're putting into your abdominal muscles, for example, which help with breath support. I'm really talking about tension around your larynx and your throat. Some singers, they believe that it's normal to feel tension when singing. Well, it's not. It's not. Healthy singing, balanced singing should feel effortless. Whatever you're singing, even if it's high intensity singing like belting, it should feel effortless. So any sign of tension is a red flag. Is something that you can notice, that you can pick up on, and then just pause and ask yourself, ooh, what am I doing here? What's going on? How can I improve this? And that's where you can ask the help of a coach. But at least you've noticed it yourself first. You're not dependent on a coach to tell you, hey, it seems like there's a little bit of tension there. No, you're within your power. So that's number 1, tension. Another one that is often not overlooked, but it is overlooked. It's that little tickle in the throat. That's how it starts. It's a little tickle in the throat, maybe when you're pushing or straining your voice, and you have to cough, and you're coughing it away, and then you might think, oh, it's just a little bit of mucus. And it might be a little bit of mucus, it might be something else. That little tickle in the throat is oftentimes, again, a sign of tension or straining. And it might be a little red flag, a little signal that your body is giving you to tell you, hey, there's something going on here. We're doing something wrong. So notice that. The third one is a little bit more obvious, and that is hoarseness. Now, the thing with hoarseness is that singers oftentimes notice this red flag when the hoarseness is already there. I want to invite you to practice feeling the hoarseness before you're actually hoarse. When you can catch yourself in that moment and then change gears where necessary, that's where you're going to be in your power. So tension is one, hoarseness is a second one, and then that little tickle in your throat is a third sign, red flag from your voice that you might be doing something wrong. And it's really important that you develop that skill of noticing that for yourself instead of hoping and relying on someone else's ears to tell you what's going on. Now, I get the fear of singers that say, well, I'm scared to practice at home because what if I feel that little tickle in my throat? Am I damaging my vocal cords? No, you're not. If you're feeling that tension, that hoarseness, or that tickle at home when you're practicing and you're feeling it once and you're noticing that and then you can adjust, that's actually a good thing. You're only starting to damage your voice once you're feeling that all the time. So if this is your normal way of singing, then we have a problem. That's where we can cause vocal injury. But if you're just feeling it imagine that you're working on your belt technique and you feel a little bit of tension after practicing your belt, that's okay. It's not like a super big issue as long as you notice it and adjust what you're doing. And this is where we can go next. Because once you've identified those red flags, the next question is, well, what do I do with this information? Now that I know that I'm doing something wrong, what can I do instead? And this is where, yes, you can talk to a vocal coach. This is where I like to introduce you to the vocal technique backpack. And this is what we do with the singers that we work with in the Singing Insiders. The whole idea of this backpack is that we're filling it up with all kinds of vocal techniques. So you're learning about breath support, and that's the technique you put into that backpack. You're learning about head voice activation, about mixed voice. You're learning about riffing, about twang, about larynx position, about vowel modifications, all those things, all those techniques. First, you need to learn about them. You need to be able to implement them. Then you need to be able to get them into your muscle memory. And basically, we're filling up your backpack. That's the first phase. Then the second phase is when you're singing a song and you notice yourself feeling that straining, feeling that hoarseness, feeling that little tickle in your throat. That is when you can then open up your backpack, go through all these techniques and choose one that you think might help you. So maybe you're singing the chorus of a song, you're noticing tension, and then you say, okay, let me open up my backpack. Oh, breath support. Let me take that out and apply that to the chorus of this song. Okay, I've done that. I've sang it using my breath support. That helped, but it's not really helping me get rid of the tension that I'm feeling. Okay, let me put breath support back into the backpack and let me find something else. Oh, there's mixed voice. Okay, let me take out mixed voice. Let me try if mixed voice helps me singing that chorus. You're singing the chorus with the intention of applying the mixed voice. Oh yes, no, that didn't help. Okay, we're putting mixed voice back into our backpack. We're looking for another one. Oh, twang. Let's try twang. Okay, we're taking twang out of the backpack. We're singing our chorus with twang. Oh my God, miracle. This helped. My tension is gone. Does that make sense? Now I know I'm kind of going through the process out loud, but that's the idea behind it. That when you notice those red flags, that's the moment when you open up your backpack and just go through all the techniques that you have in there and notice which one helps you the most to overcome that struggle. And if you can do that process, you don't need a coach in that process. You can do that by yourself. Where you can need a coach is where now, if you're feeling stuck of like, oh, which technique should I take out of my backpack? That's where coaches can help you. That's why we're in the Singing Insiders, there to support you. If you're not sure whether you're applying the technique in the right way, that's where you can ask for feedback. So the main thing that I'm trying to get across here is that I don't want you to be dependent on someone else to make progress throughout your singing journey. You need to be equipped with the tools, the techniques, and the knowledge so that you can make progress yourself, so that you take responsibility for your own practice and vocal development, and that you reach out to get feedback or help from a coach when you actually need it, not because you're unsure of every step throughout your singing journey. That's what I'm trying to get across, making you putting yourself in the driver's seat instead of having to depend on someone else. So let me ask you, do you want to keep holding on to the idea that you can only improve your voice with a constant feedback from a coach, with the risk of staying stuck, with the risk of making very slow progress and never truly feeling confident? Because if that coach is not by your side when you're on stage, well, then you're by yourself, and then what, right? Or do you want to become that independent, empowered singer, one who knows how to tune in into your own voice and make smart adjustments based on your knowledge, your tools, your skills, and your experience? That is what singing is all about. Now, I talked about knowledge, tools, and experience, so hopefully you can see that singing is more than just singing the right notes. It's more than just working on vocal technique. Singing is way more than that. It's also about taking responsibility, for example. So having a holistic approach towards your vocal development is the key to your success. And we teach that to our singers using the Vocal Freedom Method, which consists of 3 big pillars. Vocal technique is part of that, but there's 2 others that you need to master in order to really embody that vocal freedom, that place where you can sing anything that you want, high notes, low notes, all the notes in between, with confidence and how you want it to sound with your truth, expression, authentic self-expression. Now, we can have a whole different conversation around that. And I want to invite you to that conversation because I got another episode that opens up that part of singing. So I'm going to link to that episode in the description here down below so that we can keep this conversation going, so that you can get to that place of vocal freedom faster, being responsible throughout your singing journey, so that you're in the driver's seat and so that you can cultivate that confidence. So click the link below to go to that episode right now, and I'll see you in our next one. Thank you so much for having been here. Talk soon. Bye.